Hello and welcome to Oh the Horror. I'm Fedora, and hey, I'm wearing a tie again, which means it's once again time for Fedora to be a filthy fucking sellout. Yeah, this was a request from one of the movie's writers and stars, and I was a little on the fence about the whole thing until he drew me this. I mean, come on, look at that manly chin. How could I say no to such a flattering depiction? So let's see what we have here. This is 2017's The Wicked One.
What the hell? Jonestown films? So did the people in charge drink some cyanide after making this movie? So this movie starts in some reality warping world where the static on old home movies extends past where the video ends. Where young bum Michael Myers here assumingly crucifies his parents after of course having murdered their video camera first with his demonic powers of ominous staring.
One of the lamer additions to the Sinister Ghouls home movies collection.
He then heads down to the basement where after quoting, I don't know, some Linkin Park lyrics or something.
The darkness, stop! I feel it consuming me.
He murders this girl who seems to be leaking strawberry jam from her mouth instead of blood. After walking outside to get on his knees in front of some figure hiding in the cornfield. Oh, I guess David got over his breakup with Carl pretty fast. We jump forward some undisclosed amount of time later to a mental hospital where our killer, Colin, now resides. We're told to believe that this place is built to hold the world's most dangerous psychopaths and serial killers, and I for one believe it. I mean, check out this security. Wooden doors with knobs, and the finest security guards this side of the local mall.
I think I'm good.
I like to be the meat in that nurse sandwich.
You're something, buddy.
They're gonna rape that nurse in Michael Myers' cell, aren't they?
Well, I didn't think it'd be this obvious this fast, but the people behind this movie really like Halloween, don't they? The town is called Carpenter Falls, the killer's 3178 prison number is a reference to Halloween's release, and even our eventual lead heroine's name is a reference to Jamie Lee Curtis.
So it's a tribute to Halloween in a 3-year-old child helping their dad with their work presentation, good job kind of way.
And opposite the funny fonted public restrooms is of course where they keep, quote, one of the most dangerous killers in history, end quote. Here in the closet where they've taken away Colin's phone charger. Bastards. The guards have been ordered to move Colin to isolation because I guess he wasn't quite alone enough in that room. Or maybe they're taking him to the laundry, seeing as they only managed to wash half his costume. Meanwhile, after resurrecting Mary Wicks and casting her as the hospital's director, she has a meeting with a couple of suited gentlemen who are here to inspect the facility.
We only house the worst of the worst.
Security?
This should be good.
If one of those criminals should, by some miracle, manage to escape, the guards are under strict orders. Shoot to kill.
Which is why we've hired only the most skilled Call of Duty players. Alright, let's take a look at some of these world-famous psychopaths they like to go on about.
That's Martin, or as he's known around here, masturbating Martin.
Manson, Gacy, Dahmer, masturbating Marvin.
A few more minutes of unfathomable stupidity go by before, oh shit, he escaped, what do you know?
Is that what I think it is?
It's impossible.
I know, right? How the hell did he work out that double-hinged door? Impossible! This must be what the finale of The Dark Knight Rises would have looked like with a budget of $20. So Colin releases the other equally ridiculous patients who quickly overpower the 5 people who work here, leaving not Bane to go after a nurse. And talk about an intense chase scene.
All the excitement of watching somebody walk down a flight of stairs.
After Colin uses a wrench to fix the movie's crappy-looking blood problem, we then cut over to the 47-year reunion of the cast of Daria. Actually, these are our heroes for the movie, who are on their way to a big retro Halloween party called Wicked Fest. But aforementioned heroine Alex gets a call from her delinquent brother, who asks if he can join them.
I'm so sick of my brother's shit.
So are we gonna pick him up?
I'm not keen on the idea. We both know his track record. I don't want to risk him ruining this trip.
Is this about that whole pretending to be a girl on the CB radio thing again? And just when I thought I was kidding with the Joyride reference.
Remember he stole your car and wrecked it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I drove a pole through his friend's head while I made him watch, so we're cool now.
So they decide to pick her brother up, but it may already be too late. Oh no, he was eaten by a shark. By the way, I don't know how old these characters are supposed to be in this movie, considering they all look 45. But considering the genre and their dress and speaking style, I guess they're all supposed to be like 17 or something. So this is Alex's brother Trevor, played by one of the movie's writers, Cheyenne Gordon, who is the guy who actually requested me to review this movie. And after seeing how tall and scary looking he is, I'm very quickly going to change my opinion on it.
10 out of 10!
One fuck up and I will happily leave your ass on the side of the road. Are we clear?
You know, you could just call me a taxi. Nah, you look a little bit like Jeffrey Morgan. People might think there's some talent in this movie if you stick around. They stop off at Alex and Trevor's childhood home, which actually looks a lot like the same place Darkness is Consuming Me Cullen murdered his parents in the opening. So is it the same house? Are we going for the angle of the lead heroine being the baby sister of the killer? Because, well, that's sure an original idea.
You gonna be able to make up with the sibling this weekend?
I'm gonna try, Quint, but that motherfucker's not making it any easier. And all I want to do is put my hands around his fucking little throat and...
I really hate her brother, which is why I'm the one that convinced her to pick him up in the first place.
He's family.
By the way, Cullen has arrived in town, as well as hospital director. So I guess she's supposed to be the Dr. Loomis stand-in?
Well, I'm trying to find 1428 Pruitt Road.
Ah yes, isn't that where the famous child murderer Freddy Kronger used to live?
Later that night, our heroes are gathered around a campfire, talking about how Jason saw his mother being decapitated.
Does anybody know any ghost stories? You ever heard of the Wicked One?
Whoa, hey, is someone talking about me? Well, I guess Alex and the killer aren't related after all. Otherwise, her talking so nonchalantly about the guy who murdered their parents paints her as a lot more of an asshole than Negan here. However, it does turn out the house where Cullen murdered his family is not too far away from theirs. But before we get to see it, Trevor gets into a fist fight with Alex's husband and then pulls a gun on him. I guess he gave the movie a bad review too. Oh man, this is stressful. I need a beer. Thankfully, no one gets shot. So Colin wanders off to make sex eyes at Lester over here. Well, I guess those guys are on their last straw. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Then Michael kills his abusive stepfather. Ugh. You know, for a supposed homage to John Carpenter's work, I'm noticing a lot more parallels to the remakes of Halloween than the original.
However, this movie needs to raise the level on the scat, rape, and necrophilia before it reaches that level.
The next morning, Alex explains the reason Trevor is such a dick is because he blames himself and his rebellious youth for the car accident that was the actual cause of their parents' death.
Are you crushing on my brother right now?
Yeah, attempted murder is my fetish, didn't I tell you? Well, Colin's made it to his old house, I guess. And is completely invisible, because despite them looking straight at it, they don't see him standing there. Or maybe they're hoping that if they ignore him long enough, a more interesting killer will come along. And he'll have to hurry up, because Wicked Fest is on! And what a turnout! There's like 12 people. Guess they're all here to see local band Vintage Voodoo, seeing as the movie pulls the brakes on the story to advertise them for about 5 minutes. These two, however, decided to just spend the night banging in the barn.
Just go to the bathroom.
What, you're not gonna ask him to piss on you? I thought this movie was supposed to be an homage to Halloween.
Uh-oh, a Confederate flag. Does that mean protesters are gonna come along and tear this barn down? Once our heroes get home, Colin finally appears and starts slapping a few of them around. So after finding husband Adam strangely not dead, they wisely send the most emotional member of their group into the woods alone to get the car keys from the barn.
Go!
But she loses her glasses along the way, becoming completely blind. At least this movie's better than Open House. And is easily picked off by Colin, who charade stabs her to death. And then he turns up on a horse. Yeah, and it makes clopping noises while walking on grass. And then he just gets off of it and vanishes.
Can somebody find where Lady Loomis went? I think somebody backstage needs to be committed.
Oh no, Trevor's dead now. Guess he can't come after me for talking smack about the movie anymore.
I know where you live, okay? So I will fucking find you, and I will kill you.
You know, it's a good thing they spent so much time talking about his backstory and problems and then not resolve a single thing. It really makes me feel like we accomplished something. Adam here is the next one to die, and then, despite having no reason to keep her alive, Colin just kidnaps Alex and... What? When did she get captured? Last time we saw her, she was asking for directions.
But then again, I suppose major plot turns like that aren't as worthy of screen time as vintage voodoo.
I kept him locked up for 20 years, but now he's back where he belongs.
Colin Miller?
Well, you've told her the killer's name, you've served your purpose now, dead. But then, not dead Adam arrives in the nick of time and teleports over to shoot Colin in the head and save Alex. And then die for realsies. Except not really. Jesus Christ, why isn't this guy the killer? So they get a rope around Colin's neck and start to hang... Oh, come on, guys. Are you fucking serious? Oh no, the prop hook is strangling his jacket to death. And this movie comes to an end with the killer immediately coming back to life. Guys, if the killer wakes up straight away, it's not a killer is alive pop scare. It means the scene isn't over yet, you dipshits.
And that was The Wicked One.
Obvious budget restraints taken into account, this is definitely not the worst indie slasher movie I've seen, but it is so bland and unoriginal that I don't know what else to say about it. I'll give it props, the acting was pretty decent for an indie horror, the graininess gave it an old school Texas Chainsaw feel which I liked as well, and Colin's look is pretty cool, but the story was dull as batshit. Plot points like the Wicked One being or the director chasing Colin are introduced and then completely ignored. And if this movie sucked any more of Halloween's dick, it would get pregnant.
And that's all from me for tonight, so I'm Fedora, this is the Horror, save a screen for me, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, you think that's funny, huh? Yeah, Fedora? Yeah, okay. Well, just so you know, I know where you live. Yeah, thanks to Shades, actually. Yeah. Good buddies, him and me. Oh, yeah. And I paid him. So I will fucking find you, and I will kill you once I'm done running from John Carpenter's lawyers for copyright. You know, that's beside the point, okay?